Why she says I'm tired and what it really means for your relationship. You try to initiate intimacy. Maybe you move a little closer to her in bed. Maybe you touch her. Maybe you kiss her neck. And she says, I'm tired tonight. Or not in the mood. Or maybe tomorrow. And in that moment, something inside you quietly drops. You feel rejected, a little embarrassed, and as thoughts appear that many men never say out loud. Maybe she just does not want me anymore. So, what is actually happening in moments like this? Is it just exhaustion? Is it emotional distance? Or is there a deeper dynamic that many couples never really understand? Let's break this case down. If this has ever happened to you, you probably know the feeling. You try to initiate intimacy. Maybe you move a little closer. Maybe you touch her. Maybe you kiss her. And she turns to her side. Or she opens her phone and starts scrolling. Or she simply says, maybe tomorrow. And something inside you quietly drops. Not a big dramatic reaction, just a small moment of embarrassment, a small moment of rejection. A certain thoughts start appear. Maybe she lost attraction. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe this is just what marriage becomes. And over time, something else often happens. You try less. You initiate less. Sometimes you stop trying at all. But here's something important. The rejection in that moment is not always about sex. Someone recently wrote to me about this exact situation. He said, we've been together for a year. We are married. There is no cheating. There are no huge fights, no dramatic crises. We function well. We raise a child. We manage life together. But something changed. The closeness is not the same. The intimacy is not the same. And every time I try to initiate, she says she's tired. And then he added something that many men eventually say. Honestly, I stopped trying. And here's something many men don't realize. Sexual rejection is not always personal rejection. Very often, what you are seeing is not a rejection of you, it's a mismatch in how desire actually works. Because for many men, the pattern is simple. Desire appears, then intimacy begins, and connection grows through intimacy. But for many women, the order is often different. First comes connection, then relaxation, and only then does desire begin to appear. Which means something important. Many men try to start with sex, while many women need connection before desire even appears. And this difference creates a dynamic most couples never fully understand. Men's desire and women's desire often work very differently. For many men, desire, then intimacy, then connection. But for many women, the order is often the opposite: connection, then relaxation, then desire. Which means something important happens when a man initiates too directly. If she does not feel relaxed, if she does not feel emotionally connected, her mind simply does not move into that space of desire. And this is where many couples begin to misunderstand each other. Because from man's perspective, it feels like rejection. But from her perspective, the conditions for desire simply are not there yet. So, what are the real reasons this situation happens? There are usually a few, and sometimes they are much simpler than men imagine. Reason 1: exhaustion. Sometimes the reason really is simple. She's exhausted between work, daily responsibilities, children, and the constant mental load many women carry. Her system is simply drained, and in that moment, Sex does not feel like connection. It feels like another task, another demand, another thing she has to respond to. But exhaustion is not always the real reason. Maybe something deeper is happening. Reason 2: emotional distance. Sometimes the real issue is emotional distance. Over time, life becomes busy, responsibilities grow, conversations become shorter, presence becomes weaker, and slowly, emotional closeness fades. And when emotional closeness fades, sexual openness often fades with it. Not because attraction is gone, but because the emotional bridge that supports intimacy is weaker than before. But there is another reason that many couples completely miss. Reason 3: loss of polarity. Over time, many relationships slowly lose polarity. The relationship becomes practical, structured, efficient. He becomes a partner, a teammate, a co manager of life. They solve problems together. They organize life together. They manage responsibilities together. But the energy of a man she feels attraction to slowly disappears. And without that polarity, without that tension, without that spark, desire quietly fades into the background. And then something very predictable happens. Couples slowly fall into a loop that repeats again and again. He initiates intimacy. She refuses. He feels rejected, embarrassed, maybe even hurt. So he pulls back. He becomes more distant, more quiet, more guarded. She feels that distance. And without emotional closeness, her desire decreases even more. So the next time he tries again, the answer is still no, and the loop repeats. This dynamic can continue for months, sometimes even years, without either person fully understanding what is actually happening. And here are a few nuances that many couples almost never talk about, but they matter a lot. Nuance 1: predictable intimacy. Many men initiate intimacy only when they want sex, and over time, this creates a very predictable pattern. She feels the moment coming, she feels the intention, and intimacy begins to feel less like connection and more like a request. Nuance 2: the male experience of rejection. Rejection can hurt men much more deeply than many people realize. For many men, sexual acceptance is connected to their sense of masculinity, their confidence, their feeling of being desired. So, when rejection happens repeatedly, it does not just feel like a small moment. It starts to affect how a man feels about himself. But pressure has the opposite effect. Pressure does not create desire, it shuts it down. Nuance 3: desire needs space. Attraction rarely grows inside routine. It rarely grows inside pressure. Very often, desire needs something else: energy, playfulness, anticipation, a sense of space, a sense of curiosity. Because intimacy is not just a physical act, it's an emotional and energetic dynamic between two people. So, what actually changes this dynamic? If the problem is not simply lack of sex, then the solution is usually not trying harder. Very often, what needs to change is the dynamic itself. Principle 1: connection without agenda. Connection that is not immediately leading somewhere. A conversation, a moment of presence, a touch that is simply a touch. Not a signal, not a request, just connection. Because when connection exists without pressure, intimacy often returns naturally. Principle 2: playfulness and polarity. Attraction rarely grows in pure routine. It grows in energy, in playfulness, in curiosity between two people. Sometimes the relationship becomes so practical that it loses that spark. And bringing back a little play, a little unpredictability, a little masculine presence can slowly change how two people feel around each other. Principle 3: presence instead of pressure. Pressure almost never creates desire, presence often does. Being grounded, being emotionally available without forcing an outcome, because intimacy is not something that can be demanded, but the condition for intimacy can absolutely be created. And remember, every relationship situation is unique. One short video can help you recognize patterns. It can give you clarity about what might be happening. But real relationships are always more complex. They involve two people, two histories, two emotional worlds. And that's why deeper case breakdowns, real situations, and real discussions can help you go much further. This video is just the beginning. Now you have more clarity, you have a direction. But if you want to explore more real relationship cases, or even receive a breakdown of your own situation, you can find everything through the link in the description below. There you can explore the full case library, join deeper discussions, or submit your own situation for analysis. Because sometimes one small shift in awareness can completely change the dynamic of a relationship. And if this situation feels familiar to you, next case might reveal something even deeper.